Lee Jackson here, and tonight I'm just going to talk about the Bob Beck protocol and what it is I make. Now, basically, in a nutshell, what I make is this unit, and it's Bob Beck's electrifier. And what this is, it is a little unit which holds three PP3 batteries. You know, the square types, the square type like this here, you see, which equates to 27 volts. And the signal, there's a little circuit inside here which kicks off a square wave signal. And basically, the premise of this is to electrify the blood. Now, so what you will receive is a one completed unit like this. And here you see an LED light. You have an adjustment knob which it starts off at 0 and goes all the way around, and this would be the sensitivity for the device on the how powerful it's driving the signal into your skin. We'll get to that in a minute. There's the connection for the lead, and here's just a simple on-off. Now, what you will get is this unit. You will get one set of lead. It's quite long as well. It's quite about six, I thought it was about 6 foot or something. It's a meter or something. I don't know. And it's definitely a mono, and it ends up with two probes. You'll see the two probes there. Now, this part obviously connects into the little mono socket like so. And I recommend putting it into the socket before you switch it on. As you can see, it's in the 0 position now. I have to push forward to put it on. Now, before you do that, what you can do before you plug in the lead, so with the unit off, if you receive one or you turn it on, it's been off for a while, what you can do is switch it on, and what you'll see is the LED starting to flash. And what that's basically saying is doing this, it's coming up and down, it's giving you a nice signal. And then when you plug this lead in, let's get to the other side. When you plug this lead in, what actually happens, it disconnects the circuit, part of the circuit which is flashing the LED, and it transfers that signal to the two ends of the probe. But what's the point of that, you're saying? Well, okay, I'm just going to switch it off for a minute. And actually, if I leave it switched on, when I pull that lead out, you'll see the light come back on. There we are, you see. And when the batteries start to run out, I'm just making sure I get it into the picture. When the batteries run out, what you'll see is that LED will just go solid, either yellow or green, depending on which way around I've connected the LED. It doesn't matter. But anyway, if it goes solid, then you can replace the batteries. And the way you do that is you switch it off. And I'll get to that in a minute. But first of all, I'll take you through the rudimentaries of this device. Now, what you will get also is a set of these pads. They're called TENS pads, if you like, and as you can see, I'm not advertising. I get no affiliation with these people. These are what work for me, and they come sealed. There's a sell-by date on them, and you'd be more than happy to hopefully you've got a spare set. You need two of, and if you notice right here, you see there's a receptacle which actually connects directly to the end of the probe there. Now, what I suggest doing also, because everyone's arms are slightly different, and the idea is what you do is you on an arm, a nice clean arm. You know, if you've got a bit of hair like me, you might want to actually get rid of some. If you're a lady, it's no problem, right? Right, ladies? Okay. So, but what I do just for ease, because these are quite large in respect of my arm, and I don't want to get the two pads together. Now, the whole premise is that you will connect one pad to the ulnar artery and the other one to the retinal artery. So basically, wherever you feel a pulse on your arm, you can put the pad. So that's the signal going to go in. You could technically put them on one you could put one there and then put one down here. But what I find is more comfortable for me and ease of use is I put them one on the ulna and one on the rectal, whichever way round they are. It doesn't matter. You can put, it doesn't matter which way round they go. It really does not matter. So long as you get that pulsing from the blood uh, into, it gets into the skin, and as your blood's flowing, it electrifies the blood. Now it's not charging the blood one way or the other. That's why it's a 50% up and 50% down. But what I do is I take with the pads that I use, what you might find is on here, you have they come on an acetate. There's a little square acetate inside of there, you may see, and that those pads with there's a sticky gel. It's, it's a bit fluffy actually because I've had tape on it. As you can see there, I've actually cut them down. I've squared them off slightly, so I've cut the half moons off, and there's part of the remnant on the acetate sheet. So I always keep my acetate sheet clean. It looks like it's fingerprints there and everything. Yes, I know. And then when I finish using them, I actually place them back on here to keep the pads nice and clean. So I take them off, and I'll show you. I put one on my ulnar because I've used this many times. I know where I'm going to, and make sure, as I say, it's nice and clean. When the pads are new, they stick nicely, and the gel should be nice and evenly spaced onto the pad, and they're quite sticky. So you do, and then I put one on the retinal artery as such. Now, what I do uh, before I connect is I actually, because these pads have been used quite a bit, I don't connect the lead yet because um, I've not got them fastened to my. Actually, I just moved this one up a bit because a few bits of hair there. You could, if you wear a watch, that you could, a leather strap or something like that would work. Uh, Preferably not a metal strap. You don't want any signal going between these 2 points here. Your skin has to be nice and dry and clean and devoid of any debris there at all. So you get that good connection. If you get a non-connection, so that it'll focus the signal on other parts of the pad, you may get high points, which you may get a bit of itchiness the next day, but there's nothing to worry about. This is not going to cause you harm. So, and like I say, I do state that I've cured myself of hives with this. I've been using this for the past well over a year. An hour a day is good if you can. It doesn't matter how long you use this for. You could leave it on whilst you're asleep, and you can set the sensitivity to whatever you like. And maximum takes a bit of getting used to, I must admit, but even then, it won't do you any harm. The only air of caution I would say is that if you have ailments and you're taking medication, I'm not a doctor. I'm advising. I don't know anything about medication, but what I would recommend is that if you are on any medication, is to come off it and give this a go. And because if you're taking medication, say if you take an aspirin or a paracetamol, if you're using this at the same time, it amplifies that effect into your body. So any medication that you're having, you use this, it may amplify or have any adverse effects. I don't know the scope of all the medications or have required, and not to drink alcohol either, I guess. Now, so and it can be cured for many things. I'll put a link on here for Bob Beck's actual protocol. And so what I'm doing is I'm connecting the probe now. A bit of dexterity there. Oh, no, sorry, take that off. What I didn't do, which I said I was going to do, you can tell it's live, right? Okay, it's actually, I'm going to connect, it's just everyday electrical tape because I have an abundance of it. You could probably use sellotape or something like that, but I think this stuff's a lot better. You could use that white masking tape even, that's good enough. And I just wrap it around a few times and make sure that those pads are on there. Lovely. So, and I'm going to make sure, as you can see, I can work now and uh, get on with it. So I will actually connect the pads back up. Hey, it just might be just to make sure there's no stuff on here. You've got any high spots? Mine looks a bit. I've been mixing this with an experiment, doing things. So I think there's a little bit of. I might just rub that off with a a bit of paper just to make sure the probe's clean. Uh, just wipe that with a bit of paper to see if there's anything on it. That's not too bad, that. And the other probe, there's a bit of debris on there as well. Just wipe them off. Damp cloth would be okay. I'm just using a bit of rough paper there. So now I connect the probes, and we aren't even connected yet, so I'm quite safe. Not that I won't be safe. So the pads are now connected. Here's the unit. As you see, I've not connected it yet. Now, a word of advice also, and if I haven't said it before, is you want to start it off in the 0 position, and the 0 position is fully anti-clockwise. The maximum position for the drive of the signal is not changing the voltage, it's changing the drive current of that signal. So the voltage will always be the same, but this is it's like turning the volume down. You can still hear it, but as you turn the volume up, it gets louder. And so there's more drive to your speaker. So this is more drive for the signal into the pads. Now, and then obviously, just to prove to you that it is a working unit, I shall switch it on. And once I switch, I'll make sure it's on 0. Yes. Okay. And I shall connect up the probe and plug it in. Now it's in. Now I can't really feel anything on my hand because it's right at minimum. And what I find is that if I start turning it up to just past midway, I can start feeling something there in my hand. That's good enough if that's comfortable for you. But as if you look at my now this is obviously I can feel it pulsing now. And I could leave it like that for as long as I liked, and I can still go about my business and do it. And I could actually run the lead up my arm and have this unit tucked away somewhere. You got to be a bit careful because this will adjust on its own. It's very nice, and the action on this is quite nice. So you know, so if I turn it, I'm turning it down there. You've got a little arrow mark there as an indicator, and if I start turning this up a bit, that's gone down again. If I because I'm looking at the camera to make sure I've got it in picture. I'm turning up the other way. So now, oh yes, yes, oh wee, yes. Now I can feel that that's kicking off some. So I turn up a bit more and a bit more. Yeah, oh yeah, that's really zinging there now. That's really zinging there. And yeah, so maybe I just back that off slightly. What I find is also just to prove to you it is still on. I shall pull out the as you see there, yeah, and I'll push it back in again so I know it's working. Yeah, ooh, yeah, I can feel that. Yes, that's very good. And I'm just going to keep that on. And the ooh, that is very good. Yes, yeah. And what I do find is that after this has been on for a while, you may it may seem to get more powerful as you get a bit of sweat, and the connection of the pads seem to bed in also and against the skin, because you will get some sort of sweating effect as long as you don't get any tracking across to ruin the signal. And yeah, I think that's nice. If I squeeze it a bit tighter, I can feel it gets more powerful there. Yeah, and now so that's me all set up. I can just leave that till until whenever I'm happy. And the batteries will last quite excuse me, a considerable time. And there was another point I was going to make with this, and what was it? Oh yes, that's right. Now, if for example you're working away and your signal stops and you've inadvertently pulled a wire out, okay, the LED won't come on, but you won't get a signal, and you think, oh, what's wrong? What's wrong? First thing to check would be the connection of the probes. You may have lost one. Now, before you put it back in, I would suggest just turning it down again before you plug it in. So I'm going to plug it back in again, like so. And Or you could switch it off even if you wanted, So I'm going to turn it back up again, and yes, there we are. And I know what to expect, but it might be a bit of a shock for you first time using it. As you're not going to keel over anything if you accidentally turn it to full power. And now, the only way that LED is ever going to come back on again, or on at all, is if you remove that. Or if the little mono plug inside is defective in a way, they're not the best, these little mono plugs. It's relying on a spring back of a connection inside to actually make that connection for the LED to come on. So if you find also that you've switched it on and you're not getting the light on, you could always try putting the pads on to see, and then try exercising it a couple of times with this and pulling it out. Um, Originally, I used to make these with the connection here, but I find, because as you'll see, the batteries are sitting in this area of the compartment here, and they would bash against slightly, as it's quite mobile. But now I've tuned the design a bit inside to actually make it a little bit more robust. And I'll take the thing out. It's, as you can see, the LEDs going again. As you can see, I've got quite a few in the background there, ready to go, you see. Quite a few. I need some more of those little knobs. So that's on. And I only put 2 screws in this for convenience. So I'll take the screws out. There's one. And there's 2. I'm not going to say what the capabilities are of this device. What I will say, it has cured me of my hive problem that I had. And as you can see, the lid comes away nicely. And there's what it looks like inside. I've insulated everything and tied everything down to make it a little bit more robust. There's the little circuit board inside, very small and compact. I put a little manufacturing date on it with a little serial number on the chip. So I knew when it was made. And there's some other little secrets on the circuit board too, which is non-intrusive or anything like that. So I can tell if somebody's pulled this thing apart. Just for, it's not my design, it's not my circuit as such, but, I have to protect people and make sure they're going to be okay. And as you can see, the on-off switch and the battery, and I very nicely, I've actually got a little Velcro strap in here, where you can actually secure the batteries down, and then these just pop off quite easily, 3 of them. It doesn't matter which way around these go, okay? If you can put this one in any way, it doesn't matter where they go. They're not numbered. You can put them on any battery, so long as they're all, obviously, you can only put the clips on in the correct orientation anyway, so there's no way you can connect the batteries wrong. So there's that's the nature of the beast with these. And and the battery goes back in, and just pop there. Let's get back into there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually put the batteries back in, get the Velcro strap out again. It's a bit hard when this is on the bench, right? And so what I should do is, and then just get the, so that one, can I get the Velcro strap? It's very hard one-handed. It'd be easier for you if you actually, now just put the strap back down again. And it's, 2 minutes. I mean, it's probably going to take longer to get the screws out of the lid than it is to change the batteries. Okay, so, and then the lid, you just push down, and as the lid sits back down again, you've got a little pad on there on the back of the potentiometer. That's just going to sit on top here, just to hold everything in place, so it doesn't bounce about too much either. And it'll go back together again quite nicely. He says, yes, snaps in quite nicely, and then the 4 screws will go back in. And I've even included nice little pads at the bottom to actually, so if you've got on your surfaces or decent furniture, it won't scratch the surface. And yeah, so put that connection on. I'm just going to put 2 screws in now, just for ease. Yeah, there we are. And I shall switch it back on. And as you can see, switched it back on again. And the light is now working still. And that, as they say, people, is that. And like I said, this is something I just built up myself from Bob Beck's protocol. There's many different versions of this online. I do scope this out and ensure that it's a nice clean square wave of the correct 50% duty cycle with the voltage levels and the switching. So I do verify every single one, and otherwise I wouldn't put the stickers on it. And like I say, this is Bob Beck's protocol. The cost of this is probably just nearly £40 with all the parts. I suppose not even including my time and labour. I don't factor that in, but I usually retail these for about £50. But that gets me to buy more components, and also what that does enable me to do for the profits I do make with the extra boxes I do make, which you can see there. Some of those are ready to go to people. Some people obviously they're a bit harder for cash than some other people, and I've probably given more of these away than I've actually sold, but I have had some great support from some friends and friends online and all sorts. And I really, really do appreciate the support I've had with this, because it's not about making money, it's about getting these out to everybody. Every home should have one of these, I think. And it's a lot of this blood electrification process and frequency has been hidden from our healthcare for decades. And yeah, so this is Dr. Bob Beck's protocol, and it derives from work that Stephen Carley had been doing from the early 90s when he was trying to um, screen blood for HIV. So I think that is in the document. I shall link, if I can, on this video. So um, any questions, please do put in the comments, and yeah, I'll be sure to yeah respond in good time, hopefully. Yeah. Yeah, so it takes me about, I say, 4 hours to make two from scratch. That's with all the components ready. I have a massive kit here, already pre-prepared with all the parts required. It's quite a bit, as you can see. It's quite a few bits there. Different values of resistors, the LEDs, the potentiometers, the leads, the breadboard. As you can see, I've got some prepared that I made earlier, and diodes and sockets, and yeah, chips even more. The ICs there in the back. So I'm prepared, as you can see. It all keeps it nice and tidy, and I just pick the parts out as I need them. So this is my what's called my bomb list, and it's a bill of materials, if you like. And yeah, and you can get them from many different retailers and sources of supply. Of course, the more higher branded names, they're more expensive. But generally, components are components, and they work now from wherever they're made. A lot of resistors actually 5% value. They're pretty bang on, and it won't be 2 million miles away. But when I make sure, when I said I do scope these with my oscilloscope, I do make sure there's no spikes on the transition from up to negative, and when I change the change the current drive, there's actually no spiking effect. So you don't really want that. It's a nice clean signal. Okay, and yeah, due care and attention is made on every circuit, and it's verified at the end. So, and it's well secured inside the box. And as far as anything else, it should be pretty robust. And as you can see, nothing's rattling inside it. I don't know if you can hear that. Nothing is rattling, and that's it. So I think that about sums it up. I don't think I've missed anything with this, and yeah, let's switch on again. And there we are. Happy surfing, people. Yes. Okay. For that, I shall leave it there. I'd say any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer. Leave some in the comments. And yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. Goodbye.